Welcome back, my friends.
Welcome back to the first Squid Games video about Season 3. Netflix just announced not only the release date but also shared a bunch of first looks at all the major characters in a short video hinting at a couple of the new games. We're going to go over all the new information announced because I don't know about you, but I can't wait for Season 3 to come out. It's crazy that this will be the final season of Squid Games, and technically it's just part 2 of Season 2. We didn't get 3 full years of Squid Games, just 2 years broken up into 3 parts. There is talks of an American spin-off show taking place in the US, but I can't help but think that this original show will always be the best version. Now let's just jump right into it because we've got a lot of exciting things to talk about. And first, I want to talk about all of these cool pictures they posted. This first one of Gi-Hun is so ominous. It looks like this takes place immediately after the end of Season 2. No, not the last scene we see. I'm actually so curious though if this is during the rebellion or if this is at the start of the next game. Because there's main characters in this shot. We know Player 100 we left safely in the bunks when Gi-Hun went off to shoot up the games. We see him here when Player 388 comes back to get the extra ammo. So unless he wandered off after this shot, this post-credit scene might take place further into Season 3. But like we were saying with Gi-Hun, this shot takes place right after they subdued him and the front man shot his friend. It looks like they brought him back to the bunk room and handcuffed him to this bed. I wonder why the handcuff. If they have guns pointed at him, it's unlikely he's gonna try anything. I almost want to say this seems like the front man in all black in the foreground that Gi-Hun is staring at so sternly. It would make sense if it was him. But if you brighten up the image, it kind of looks like this shoulder right here has some green on it, as if it's a player in a tracksuit. And you can kind of see a hair curling out of the bottom of the head, suggesting it's possibly Player 388. The hairstyle is pretty identical. I wonder if Gi-Hun is handcuffed here so the other players can beat him up or punish him themselves if because of his actions the rest of them were punished. I do think this would be a bit risky though. There's a reason that Gi-Hun wasn't killed like everybody else. In-Ho is purposefully keeping him alive for a reason. And since the majority of the players left are the O's that just killed off all the X's overnight, there's a good chance they would simply just kill him. But I don't think that's what the front man wants, so I'm really curious to see why he's restrained. The big question for Season 3 is what happens next? Like we found out in the video where we discovered what the single hardest Squid Game is based on statistics, we discovered that after Mingle, which was Game 3 this year, 100 players still remain, which is really high. Most years, like in Season 1, after Game 3, there is usually only around 40 players left as they get ready to play some of the smaller games with fewer players. But the bathroom fight did eliminate 5 more players, bringing us down to 95. And then we have the night killings. This took place, and then before they were able to give us an updated player count, the rebellion happened. But based on a couple of these wider shots with everyone in it, we can see that there is only 53 players in these shots, meaning that 42 people, mainly X's, were killed off in the night, which is a lot. And then out of the 53 left, Gi-Hun takes a group of 12 that takes part in the rebellion. Now, including the frontman's character 01 dying in quotation marks, as well as the father who at the moment is dead, but personally I would bet is still alive, we lost another 9 players. Gi-Hun was the sole survivor, minus 388 since he ran back for ammo as the others got overrun, and luckily that caused 120 to go check on him, saving her as well. They're the only 3 survivors, putting the player count at just 46 players, which is very close to the amount of players they normally have by now, which means it's the perfect amount to keep the games going. Each year there is 6 Squid Games, and so far in Season 2 we've only made it through 3 of them. Basically, Season 3 is just part 2 of Season 2. It will literally include the last 3 games of this year. But what about the rebellion? Last season, when people were doing things behind the game's back and their black market organ selling operation was uncovered, everyone included was slaughtered and hung up on display in the stairs room. The games usually make a point in some way to punish those who stepped out of line and then make an example out of them, deterring any other players from stepping out of line. So there's a good chance they're going to be doing the same thing with the players that took place in the rebellion in Season 3. And that brings us to our next picture, which has something extremely surprising hidden in it. This gives us so much more context than the first photo. This shows us a lot of the surviving main characters staring at something in a coffin. Like we were saying a second ago, the games always make a point to make an example out of the disobedient to deter other players from acting out of line. And what goes in coffins? Bodies. There's a good chance that this is one of the players that died in the rebellion. Originally, I was thinking it was possible that this was player 388 they were looking at. When the guards came back in, they knew he was one of the players in the rebellion and executed him and put him in the box. But But lucky for us, it seems like 388 is alive and well in this photo. If you zoom in, we can see this player in the background that looks exactly like him. It looks like that's the number on his jacket, and even more importantly, this bloodstain on his left shoulder is the exact same that we saw on 388's. So there's a good chance that this is someone else in the box, and unless they knocked out Gi-Hun and delivered him unconsciously to the players, which I don't think they would do for a number of reasons. One, we already saw that he was simply handcuffed to the bunk, and two, there's no reason for them to make an example out of the dead players just to give the others a scare. If anything, it would give them hope that they could survive the game's punishment. Instead, I think this is an actual dead player, and I'm worried it's Gi-Hun's friend, player 390. That's the next biggest main character that died in the rebellion that would elicit the most emotional response from all of these players. In fact, they could have brought all 9 bodies in and left 9 coffins in the bunk showing all the players in the rebellion that died. It could honestly be In-Ho as well. I mean, he kind of already staged his death over the walkie-talkie, but if he really wanted to convince them that he was dead or something, or maybe just to see how much the other players cared about him, they could send him in unconsciously in a coffin. I think it has a better chance to be Gi-Hun's friend though. But keep in mind, this is also only if this scene takes place in the first episode right after the rebellion. There's something weird about player 120's jacket. If we zoom in, we can see they're not wearing their normal jacket we saw them in last. Everyone else is wearing their proper number except for her. For some reason, she's wearing a number 200 jacket. It really looks like her number is now 20 something. No idea why she would change jackets with any of the 200 through 209 players. I went through and found all of them, and none of them are main characters. Most of them vote to continue the games and have the blue patch, while she has the red X patch on this jacket. It is possible it's still a 120 jacket and the 1 is just hidden, but it just really doesn't look like that. It looks like this is the edge of the patch right here. Either way, I'm really curious to see who's in this coffin. Next, we see our first shot of the frontman, fully suited up with the mask back on in what looks to be the VIP room. In Season 1, when they first arrived, they were escorted to this colorful exotic room where they watched Game 5, the bridge game, which gives us more proving that they will in fact be proceeding with this year's games even after the rebellion. But the biggest question we have here is this really the frontman? Or is this the backup frontman? The backman? Batman? What if this isn't In-Ho, but this is his stand-in? For the first time this season, we see that he actually has someone shadowing him, acting as the frontman when he's away playing hero. And since In-Ho went back to being the frontman at the end of Season 2, I wonder if this will be him or his stand-in. I wonder if the VIPs will be arriving for Game 5 again this year, or if they're more excited for this year and they're gonna come out early for Game 4, since these games have gone off the rails more than usual, plus, most likely for the first time ever, a winning player has returned. That's gotta be more entertaining for them. Now next we see a shot of the frontman in his private quarters staring at his mask. It looks like he's processing so many emotions right now, as this is right after he stopped playing 01 and resumed his duties as the frontman most likely. He just executed Gi-Hun's friend and sent him back to the bunks, and now he's going over everything that happened and what he has to do to control the players, continue the games, and I can't help but think he's having some sort of moral dilemma, contemplating if he's doing the right thing anymore. He just looks so broken here, like he's questioning himself. I'm sure since he won the games back in 2015 and since has come to work for them, he has been brainwashed to think that he's in the right, cleaning up the trash off the streets and giving them an opportunity to hit the jackpot. But now, after playing in the games again and spending so much time and bonding with Gi-Hun and the other players, I wonder if he's starting to reconsider everything. And then next we get an update on number 11. It looks like somehow she's escaped the games and is out on the shore of the island, similar to where we see Jun-Ho escape to briefly in Season 1. I can't help but wonder if she broke out alone or somehow managed to save the father and break out and run away together in hopes of making it back to his daughter safely. I wonder if they might bump into Jun-Ho as he's nearby, possibly about to discover the island for himself, and maybe she can help him break into the games while she hangs out on the boat. It looks like she's either on her knees looking up at someone questioning her, or she's standing and looking up to a cliff, or possibly the drone in the air Jun-Ho was using to search for the island. I think the way the shot is framed, how it's a little high on her, makes me think she's on her knees. If she somehow managed to rescue the father and get him out, maybe he took her gun, freaked out, and she had to remove her mask to show him who she really is, and this is him realizing it and trying to piece everything together. Next is the actual promo for Season 3, not only giving us the release date, but also one of the games we're going to see next. Season 3 will be releasing on June 27th, which is just less than 5 months away from now, and it cannot come soon enough. There's supposed to be 6 episodes in the final season, or the part 2 of Season 2, which is 1 episode less than Season 2, and 3 episodes less than Season 1. Hopefully they'll be a bit longer to wrap up all the storylines, because it does seem like they will be playing through 3 more games, one of which is very heavily teased in this promo as well as in the post-credits in the last finale. The game is called Why Did You Come to My House? It's basically Red Rover mixed with rock, paper, scissors. The director mentioned in an interview he wanted to put this game in Season 2, and Gi-Hun actually brings it up in Season 1 when he's trying to guess what the teams are for before they play tug of war. Basically, all the players are separated into 2 teams. Usually they hold hands and sing a song. Since I doubt they'll require the actual players to sing the song, I think that's why they introduced the second doll in the post-credit scene. They both seem to be looking at each other, so one doll will sing for one team while the other sings for the other team. The first team sings, "Why did you come to my house?" And then the other team sings, "To pick the flowers." And then the other team sings, "Which flower?" And then the responding team says a player's name. The player then plays rock, paper, scissors with the player from the other team who's across from them. If they win, they get to stay where they are, but if they lose, they must join the other player's team. The teams take turns going back and forth, and the game ends once all players have been captured by one team. The only thing is, this is Squid Games, and there's a good chance 50% of the players will be eliminated in this game, either by the rock, paper, scissors, or a timer, or possibly a task they have to do after rock, paper, scissors. It looks like this will be another brutal rendition of an innocent child's game that should make for some great television. In this promo, we can see the entire ground is covered with flowers playing into the theme of the game, and we can see the shadows of the 2 dolls standing off to the side, and then a guard dragging a dead player away. There was a special Netflix trailer released for upcoming 2025 projects, and the scene from Squid Games shows a player running into a room full of guards who are pointing to a giant gumball machine filled with red and blue balls. I wonder if since the uprising they will use something like this that's completely random to choose teams. That way, friends and enemies have the chance to play together or be split up in Why Did You Come to My House? This would make the stakes pretty high if the players had to call out to other players who have a chance to eliminate them or not. Their alliances would come into play more than ever here, and with the majority of the X's being killed off in the night and the rebellion, it's not looking too good for them. Tell me in the comments what you think of Season 3 so far and if you want more Squid Games content. Thank you so much for watching the videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.